Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Campfire Conversations. I'm so glad you could all join us around the glow of the virtual campfire as we share tales from the land of programming, data, and summer adventures. Today, you'll hear stories from three brave explorers who've journeyed deep into the world of camps, conquered technical beasts, and returned with wisdom to share. So grab your marshmallows, open your notebooks, and get ready to turn the page because every great story starts with a spark of curiosity. Our first storyteller is Eric Lewis, the author of Once Upon a Summer, a tale filled with magic, deadlines, and maybe even some buried treasure. Each chapter of his story takes us deeper into the magical land of program creation, where workflows flow, forms get filled, and knowledge is just a screen step away. So without further ado, let's open chapter one. Welcome to camp.
Good morning, programmers. My name is Eric, and today I'm going to be telling you a story titled Once Upon a Summer. So grab your camp hats, find a comfy log by the fire, and get ready to explore the magical world of summer day camp programming. Before our adventure begins, here are some chapters of our story. Welcome to camp. If summer, then fun. The daily dashboard, program parameters, conclusion, and questions. Chapter 1. Once upon a sunny morning, the camp gates opened wide and the campers from every corner came rushing in. Preschoolers, children, teens, and even mixed ages. Now, what is a mixed age group, you ask? Well, that's when campers from different age groups come together for one big adventure, like 8-year-olds and 14-year-olds teaming up for a talent show or a scavenger hunt. Before starting any new camp activity, the WISE programmers checked the magical place called RecTrac to make sure no one had already created any activities that have already been suggested, all after no one wants to reinvent the s'more. To make sure everyone stayed on track, the programmers followed a special set of steps, a timeline showing when data entry started, when it ended, and when the data freeze began. It was teamwork, timing, and a touch of summer magic. Now, as you can see in step one, the last season camps are archived by the help desk staff, such as myself, Quincy, or Allison. Step two, the data entry opens. You will receive a nice email message from our supervisor, Rachel, let you know that the data entry has opened and when it closes. Step three, programming divisions update archive camps and they create new camp sections, request new activities, and correct any data entry issues. The customer service help desk creates new activities provided that provides the data entry support. Step four, the data entry period closes. Parks to Rec entry, Parks to Rec data entry permissions are temporarily turned off. The customer service help desk reviews and checks for any errors, such as known as the D. Jalen will speak on that later on today. He will go into details on what the D is and what to expect during the D. And step five, Parks to Rec permissions are restored, and um, public affairs would design and create the brochure using the data that they export from Parks to Rec. Now, as we continue on our story, Each activity is also needed a section code. Built carefully using the section code cheat sheet, all summer day camp codes begin with the number 3, followed by the camp's facility number, and ended with special characters from letter A to Z. Now I will show you a live demo of what to expect or how to view the section cheat sheet and screen steps. So as you can see here, this is all of the seasons that we use. As I said before, summer day camp will start with a number 3. And if you could go down, if you don't know your facility location code, you can get it from this cheat sheet here, and you'll be able to create that summer day camp section. And as I scroll down, you will see what the section will look like. An example, as you can see, it starts with the season, and then also the location, and then also the letter going from A to Z. Chapter 2, If Summer, Then Fun. As the summer sun grew brighter, the programmers began their favorite part of summer camp, programming. They learned some new classes, roll over from the year before, saving time like a magic rewind button. Others could be cloned, helping programmers to duplicate sections quickly. Now, as I mentioned before in the story, during data entry, programmers create activities for the new season, arts and crafts, field games, swim lessons, you name it. But then came the data freeze, a time where everyone stopped, no new activities, no changes, just frozen like a popsicle on a hot July day. Chapter 3, the daily dashboard. In the center of camp stood a digital treasure chest known as Screen Steps, a library filled with helpful tools and tips for every programmer. Inside of Screen Steps, you can find job aids, knowledge articles, troubleshooting tips, training resources, and more. There are many paths to reach Screen Steps. The first would be by visiting the URL code pgparks.screenstepslive.com. The second path would be, if you look at the left of this screen, this picture, every commission issued laptop has this icon on it. It takes you directly to the Screen Steps page. And then if you look to your right, this is how you get to Screen Steps via RecTrac. Now I'm going to show you a live demo on how to get to it from RecTrac. So once you're logged in, you'll go to the menu screen at the top. You'll click Screen Steps. And here is all of the articles that we have as far as how to do things in RecTrac, how to troubleshoot. And also, if you look to the right-hand side, the helpful articles as well, how to create a section. It also mentions the deep, which I said Jalen will speak on later. Cash journal reports, you name it. Anything that you need to help with RecTrac, you can get it from here. If you don't see anything in RecTrac, be sure to reach out to the customer service help desk. We'll be sure that our knowledge management team gets that created for you. Chapter 4, Program Parameters. One bright afternoon, the programmers gathered at the program request form, the final piece of the summer puzzle. They opened it from the Screen Steps page and clicked the tab labeled Parks and Rec form. I will show you a live demo of how to get to the program request form. It's the same screen. You go to Screen Steps, but instead of going through the articles, you look at the top, you click on the one that says Parks and Rec program form, and then you have everything here that you need to fill out. Every field marked with a red asterisk has to be filled out because every detail matters. If programmers have more than one request, they will select the yes on question 6 and open the magical spreadsheet. Fill it out completely, return to the form and upload it and press submit. Now, If you don't have more than one request, as you can see here, I'm choosing no now. It will open up the remaining questions for the program request form. So I'm going to request that a flag football activity is created. I'm going to fill out everything that has a red asterisk on it, of course. Program benefits, that's very important that you fill that out as well. The age here is very important because when we're creating new activities, this gives us the range that we need to, or the activity code that we need to use when we're creating it. So as I mentioned before in my presentation, in my story, mixed ages is two age categories that's in one. So I use 8 to 14, so we know that this will be a mixed age activity. And as I'm going through the questions, you just keep filling them out, of course. The start date and start time is very important. The end date. Now, if you're doing an activity, these things probably wouldn't fall within that guideline of these questions, but it's still also important to answer them. Now, once everything is submitted, the request travel through the digital forest straight to the help desk, where it will be reviewed and approved by the guardians of camp technology. Those with only requests simply filled out the remaining questions and submitted their single one with pride. Now, here's what we covered today. We went over activities and sections, programming terms, screen steps, and program request form. By the end of the story, every programmer had learned the 4 pillars of summer day camp programming. And so, with every click and code, the camp became a place of creativity, learning, and teamwork, all under the summer sun. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the customer service help desk, as you see our email here, or you could give us a call at 301 699 2255. And if you have any questions right now, we have someone that will be answering the questions in our queue. Thank you. Have a great day.
What an amazing story. From debugging quests to building dreams, Eric really gave us a full plot arc. But before we close the book, let's see how well you were reading between the lines. It's time for our first check your knowledge moment. Scan the QR code on the screen to answer a few quick questions and test how much of Once Upon a Summer you retained. Remember, no spoilers in the chat. All right, so take about 2 minutes to answer all of our questions, and then we'll meet back here when you're done. All right, and we are back. So let's see how much you retained. All right, so let's look at our first question. Picture yourself gathered around the campfire. You need to look up some info in screen steps. Where can you find it? Select all that apply. So we had Insight, RecTrac, your desktop, SharePoint, or pgparks.screenstepslive.com. So let's see what the correct answer was. So we have three answers: RecTrac, your desktop, or pgparks.screenstepslive.com. So if you chose those, then you were correct. And let's move along to the second question. The data entry period doesn't just appear out of the mist. When does it officially begin? Was it Monday? Is it Monday, October the 20th, Monday, November the 3rd, Monday, October 27th, or Wednesday, October 29th? Let's see the correct answer. The correct answer is Monday, October 20th. So remember that. Data entry opens on Monday, October the 20th. All right, moving on to our next question, our final question for our first section. All right, so the next question is, you're planning a whole lineup of camp activities. True or false? When submitting your program request forms for the creation of new activity codes, you should fill out one form per activity code request. Is that true or false? So the correct answer is false. So for one program request or one activity, you should definitely just do one program request. But if you're doing multiple program requests or multiple activity requests, you should do it all on the Excel document and put it all on that one Excel document and then upload that to our program request form. All right, so let's move along. Next up is Quincy Clark, who brings us the Chronicles of Camp Creation, an epic trilogy that takes us through the trials of building camp sections, conquering extended care, and learning from the wise masters of live demos. In this trilogy, our hero faces every programmer's greatest test, setting up camps in uncharted territory. So gather close as Quincy begins with Book One, Setting Up Camp in an Unfamiliar Land.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Quincy, and I'll be taking you through a trilogy of tales about a programmer that seeks to train with the ancient masters before the great data entry freeze you heard about earlier. Welcome to the Chronicles of Camp Creation. First, we'll start with Book 1, Setting Up Camp in an Unfamiliar Land. Then, we'll move to Book 2, An Extended Journey Up the Mountain. And finally, we'll conclude with Book 3, Training with the Ancient Masters. Our story begins in a humble place, setting up camp and making sure we have everything we need to embark on our journey. Information is just as important as supplies, so we'll start off with some important things to know. Chapter 1, Day Camp Info. Our summer day camp season starts on June 22nd, 2026, and ends on August 14th. Typically, summer camp sessions are broken up into 4 two-week-long sessions. When it comes to paying, parents can choose to pay for camps in full at the time of registration, or they can pay a $50 non-refundable, non-transferable deposit and pay the remaining balance off at a later date. Customers are able to cancel within the first 2 weeks after registration begins without penalty, but after that, that deposit is once again non-refundable and non-transferable. Now, if they do choose to pay a deposit, camps that take place in the first half of the summer day camp season must be paid off by June 1st, and camps that take place in the second half of the summer day camp season must be paid off by July 1st. Now, in preparation for our long journey, we want to make sure that we know how long we'll be traveling so we can be prepared in both body and mind. Let's look at a timeline of dates to see how often we'll need to make camp. So here you can see our section dates for the summer. 2-week camps are generally arranged in this fashion to allow parents to guarantee that they can register for full coverage of the summer season. 1-week camps are an option, and those are orchestrated at the regional level to ensure that there's always a follow-up 1-week camp happening nearby in any given 2-week period. Now, the session 0 and session 5 blocks that you see in the top left and top right, those are generally used by art centers, nature centers, and other locations that don't require a lot of cleanup and reorganization to begin the summer season of programming. Those very same session 0 and session 5 blocks are mostly used by private school students, homeschool children, or kids coming from other counties or different states whose schedules don't align with the public school year. Now that we have an idea of how often we'll be stopping on our journey, our next concern is our finances. Let's look forward to see how we can be mindful of our spending on this grand expedition. Chapter 3, Day Camp Pricing. So here you can see the pricing brackets that we have for our different types of camps. These prices are not automatically assigned to camps. This is a manual process that we'll cover in the live demo later. As a programmer, you get to decide what prices to apply to what camps within the guidelines outlined by the department. We would advise considering the resources that the camp requires, looking at prices of your camps at your facility historically, and consulting with your regional management for further guidance. Now that we have an idea of how much this journey will cost, but with some shops, prices may vary. Let's make sure that our expenses are uniform so we're not overpaying for our goods. Chapter 4, Static Fees. When setting up day camp fees, it's important to set the day camp fees as unchangeable so the prices can update if the overall fee set gets changed by the Summer Day Camp Committee or by division leadership. It also ensures that you're using the correct price and that your prices align with similar camps throughout the county. You can tell if it's been done correctly if there is no pencil icon on the left side of the fees in that column where you see linked to and the word sets. This will automatically account for non-resident increases and prorations for holidays like Juneteenth and July 4th. Now, money can't account for every situation on a quest like this one. Sometimes nature or other unforeseen forces will get in the way of our party. If it's too dangerous to embark, we may need to take a day off to gather our wits and wait out the storm. Chapter 5, Forecasting Dates. If there are any special days where a class is occurring when it wouldn't normally, or a class is not occurring, you can use this function, Custom Schedule and Holidays, to add or remove individual section dates. We'll touch upon this in greater detail at the end of Book 3, but for now, since we're ready to set forth, we'll move to the next book in our trilogy. Our tale continues with Book 2, An Extended Journey Up the Mountain. We'll start with what does it mean to embark on such an extended expedition? And a good question to start with is what is an extended care section? Extended care sections are activity sections linked to day camps, allowing parents to drop off their children earlier and or pick them up later in the day. They are necessary in that every camp section needs a set of extended care sections associated with it. They are guaranteed in that if the patron is registered for the camp, an extended care section will be available to them. The extended care matches the enrollment of the camps that it's linked to, but still, for the purposes of preparing for the extended care, especially for the case of therapeutic recreation programs or inclusion services, it would be ideal for people to get registered for this as soon as possible. They are also flexible in that parents can enroll their children in either before or after care, both sections, or neither if the length of the camp is satisfactory. Here we've got the hours of operation for our morning care or before care, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then for the aftercare or evening care, that runs from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. We also have some activity codes representing the extended care sections, and these activity codes are specific to the age brackets that the extended care sections and their associated camps cover. You also may notice that there isn't an activity code for preschool care, and that's because preschool camps do not have before or after care sections associated with them. For our next chapter, we have a fork in the road. You can decide which path to take, but for now, we'll scout both routes to see the merits of each potential choice. Chapter 2, Types of Extended Care Setup. To the left, we have the one-to-one path, or having a set of extended care sections for each camp. To the right, the one-for-all path, or having one set of extended care sections for multiple camps. Let's take a look at what this looks like. So here you can see for the one-to-one path, we have the individual camp sections, and each one has an associated before care and after care section linked to it. If your extended care sections are being housed in different rooms, it may be beneficial to arrange your extended care sections like so. This will also allow you to run separate roster reports for camp sections and extended care sections, so you have slightly more granular and detailed reporting. Alternatively, the one-for-all method shown here shows multiple camp sections all linked into the same set of before and after care sections. If your extended care sections are being housed in the same place, it may be beneficial to arrange your extended care sections like this. It is also a little bit easier to set up in this way as there are fewer sections to create and manage, but you will need to run reports for the individual camps as the roster for the joint extended care section will contain all of the registered individuals between those linked camps. Now, after long last, we've reached the mountaintop. The ancient masters have agreed to demonstrate their techniques, and so our third book begins. First, we'll demo some aspects of creating a camp section. And we'll start with how to access activity section management. You can access it through the waffle menu in the top left-hand corner. Just click on Management, Activity Management, and then select Activity Management again. That will bring you to the activity management screen, and you can either use the activity code or the short description if you know the name of the camp that you're looking for to pull it up here. Just select the camp that you would like to create, and then click on Section Management at the bottom of the screen to be brought into Activity Section Management. From there, you can click the Add button in the bottom left-hand corner, click Continue, and it will bring you to the core tab of Activity Section Update. Once you're in the core tab, you'll start off by entering your section code, which Eric mentioned how to generate. Once you have that entered, you'll enter the max count for your program, or the maximum number of people you can enroll, and then the minimum count being the minimum number of people required to have the class occur. You can set the year to 2026 for this upcoming summer camp season, and then for the season, you can either click the drop-down menu and select summer camps, or type it into the field. For your facility location, you can pull it up through that menu as well. Using the facility location filter, you can enter the acronym for your facility. In this case, we're making a camp for Bowie, and then select the room that you would like that camp to be housed in. Just click select or double click, and that'll lock in the facility. For the begin date, you can either enter the date into that field, or you can use the date picker and then use the associated drop-down menus to select the year, select the month, and select the date for the camp. Same for the begin time. You can either use the scroll bar to scroll down to the appropriate start time, or you can enter the time in manually here, and it'll automatically correct to the syntax for RecTrac. Next, you'd want to select the days that the camp occurs. It'll typically be all 5 days of the week over that 2-week session. And then in the RecTrac settings, make sure to set the display section on web to no, as that will automatically be updated the month that registration begins. In the keyword search, you can enter some keywords that are useful for patrons looking online to register for these camps. And then make sure to designate your program as a childcare activity. Now that you've got the core tab information filled out, next we can move on to establishing the fees. First, we'll start with setting up the cost center or the accounting unit for the fees. If you don't know it offhand, you can use the description to search for the appropriate accounting unit for your facility. In this case, we'll select the one for Bowie Community Center. And then once you've got the cost center, the next thing is going to be to set the fees as unchangeable. Once you pull up this menu, you can type in day camp to narrow it down to the day camp fees, and then select the appropriate fee for the length of your camp, for the price of your camp, and for the part of the summer that it's taking place in. You can either double click it or click on create set link, and that will link the fees to your camp, including everything from the pay in full amount shown here to the $50 deposit for the installment billing, and also covering any prorations for holidays that occur during that time. Now that you've got your fees established, we'll go on to establishing some rules associated with the camp. First, we'll start with setting up a simple age rule. In this case, we're going to link set as template, since we do want to be able to edit this rule after we implement it. You can see the age ranges are shown at the top. Just select the one for day camp and then click on create set template. Once that is loaded in, you can either double click it or click change, and then change rule to be able to make edits to it. And from here, you can change the custom rule display to change the text associated with the rule. And then subsequently, down here in the linked criteria, you can change the actual rule itself. Just select it, click change. And then from here, you can set the begin age to a number ending in 0.00 and the end age to a number ending in 0.99 to include the full age range. From there, just click save again, and then your new rule will be implemented. One more thing to note when it comes to creating camp sections is that you want to update the comments as well, so the description is accurate. All you have to do is go to the comments tab, and then in that brochure code, enter the activity code to automatically import the approved description from our Public Affairs and Community Engagement Division. Once that has been established, I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but we're going to talk about the custom schedule and holidays function here. So when you're in the core tab, if you click on class count, it'll actually list out the number of sessions associated with your camp. In this case, it's 10 because it's 5 over 2 weeks. In order to remove a day, you can click on custom schedule and holidays, click on add. In this case, we're going to say that class isn't happening on a Tuesday. You set the meeting date for the date that you would like to omit. And then make sure to check off that holiday box so that RecTrac knows that you're designating this as a day where class is not occurring. Once you have that established, you can go ahead and X out of this menu. And then if you click on class count, RecTrac will actually update the number of classes that are going to occur to account for that holiday. So that's how you can designate a custom holiday if an instructor is out or if there's maintenance needed at a facility. Now, moving on to Chapter 2 for creating an extended care section. We'll skip over the core tab here and go straight into the fees. Remember, whenever we're doing fees, we always want to link set as unchangeable. And then from here, you can type in the word extended into the description in order to see the associated extended care fees. Just select the proper length for your extended care section, click on create set link, and that will import the fees as well. Now, an important rule to be able to establish for your extended care sections is the prerequisite rule that ties it to a camp section. From here, we're going to go to link set and link set as template, since you want to be able to change the camp that's linked to it. You can use the word prerequisite in the description to pull up the section prerequisite template. Just select it and click on create set template, and it'll import the rule for you. You'll notice that it's automatically listed for this 10101 Bobbers camp or class. Just click on the rule and click on change rule. Scroll down to where you see the linked criteria, and this is where we can edit it so that it shows as a prerequisite the camp that the extended care is linked to. Just click change, and then I personally like to go into the activity section list in order to select the camp I would like to link to it. Just make sure to deselect the program that is already selected, and then you can use the activity code or the short description to locate the camp that you would like to be linked as a prerequisite. Just select the camp from here, click select, and then you'll see that it updates the activity section list with the camp that you want to be a prerequisite. From there, click save again, and then your rule will be updated as shown. Now that's if you want to use the one-to-one method to have one camp linked to your extended care section. We'll talk about what it looks like when you want to link multiple camps to a single extended care section. So we're actually going to do a edit to an existing rule that has been configured incorrectly, so we can show you how to get that configured properly. So if you look here, this camp currently has this extended care currently has 3 camp sections linked to it, but they've been linked as match 1 individually. So this is not configured correctly. This rule is basically saying that you need to be enrolled in 309A, 309B, and 309C instead of any one of those in order to register. So we'll go ahead and get this corrected. To edit a rule that already exists, you can select the rule, click change, and then change rule. In this case, we're going to head down to the linked criteria, and we're going to get rid of the extra criteria values that are showing here. If there's anything you'd like to change or get rid of, you can select it and then click delete. So we're going to get rid of the 2 on the bottom, and then we're going to change the 1 on the top. In the same way that we did before, we're going to access the menu in the activity section list. And this time, instead of creating 3 individual rules, we're going to pull up the camp section and then select each camp that we would like to be linked as a prerequisite to this extended care. Once you have everything selected, go ahead and click select, and then you'll see they'll all be listed under the activity section list, and make sure that match option is set to match 1. From there, you can hit save again, and then now, when we mouse over the criteria description, we can see that it says match 1 for either 309A, 309B, or 309C. So if you registered for any one of those, you should be able to register for this extended care section now. Finally, Chapter 3 for cloning a section. This you'll want to do from the main activity section management screen. Once you're there, just select the camp that you would like to clone, click on the clone button at the bottom, and it'll bring you to this screen. At the top, the new record code list is just going to be the section code. For the season, we're going to designate that as summer day camps. And for the year, we'll set that to 2026. Once you have those 3 required fields, you can hit continue. The system will ask you to confirm the activity and section code. And once you hit process, it'll confirm the creation of your new camp section. Now, our trilogy may be coming to a close, but there is a resource that cannot be overlooked, and that is our ScreenSteps knowledge base, a veritable library of Alexandria full of helpful articles for programmers to help throughout the data entry process. The stories you've heard today have been cataloged and preserved for posterity. We'll take a moment to browse the archive and see what useful articles are in store. The ancient tomes cover many of the things that we've gone over, such as the creation for summer day camps and extended care sections, the modification, so cloning activity sections or how to add holidays, the translation of our activity codes and section codes so you can get a better idea of what makes those up, and investigation, our data entry error tool, which we're going to hear some spooky stories about in a little bit, and the key reports list with a bunch of reports that have their own individual ScreenSteps articles for how to run those. In summary, to recap our tale, we've discussed summer day camp pricing and timing, extended care configuration, witnessed the step-by-step process, and reviewed some helpful ScreenSteps articles that may assist you in the future. Now, if there's one thing to take away, it's that we're here to empower you to do your best, whether that's making information available to you about the structure of our summer day camp season, the functionality of our extended care sections, and weighing the pros and cons for you based on your needs and the amenities that your facilities have to offer. I always say on the phone, if you need anything, you know where to find us. And with that, our trilogy comes to a close. If there are any questions, you can go ahead and throw them in the Q&A, or of course, reach out to us via our phone or our email as shown. Thank you for your time.
That was quite the saga, complete with plot twists, extended journeys, and all the knowing demo masters. Now, it's time to see how closely you follow the chronicles of camp creation. Scan the QR code to take our next Check Your Knowledge challenge. Think of it as a mini pop quiz straight out of your favorite adventure series. Take about 2 minutes to answer our questions, and we'll meet back here to check your answers. All right, welcome back. So let's go ahead and check your answers. All right, so let's go ahead with question number 1. You're gearing up for camp and getting ready to add fees to your section. When linking your fees, how should they connect to your camp or extended care section? Link set as template, link set as firm, link set as unchangeable, or link set as active. So let's see what the correct answer was. The correct answer is link set as unchangeable, and that is because we want to make sure that you are using the preset camp fees. All right, now let's move on to question number 2. The campfire rumor is that each of your camp sections needs an extended care section created for them. Is that true or false? So let's see what the correct answer is. The correct answer is false. Now, you can have an extended care section, before and after care, for each camp section, or you can have one before care and one after care section for all of the camp sections at your facility. All right, question number 3. Picture your little campers roasting marshmallows. Is extended care available for preschool camps? Yes or no? The correct answer is no. We do not offer extended care for preschool camps. Right, question number 4. Before your camp can make its grand debut in the guide, it needs the right status. What should your camp section status be to export successfully? Pending, active, default, or inactive? The correct answer is active. Please make sure you set your camps to active to make sure they are in our guide. All right, and moving on to our last question. The fire's lit, but registration season hasn't started yet. You're setting up your summer day camp section. The web display option should be as of date, yes, on registration day, or no. The correct answer is no. So while you are setting your camps to active, you should set the web display option to no, because if you set it to yes, then they will show up now instead of, well, they'll show up too early. So we just want to set them to no, and then we will set them to on web display when it's time to show all of our summer day camps sessions. And be sure that rest assured, we will make sure that they are set to web display on when they should be set to web display on. So let's prepare for our next and final tale. Our last tale today comes from Jalen Paletta, keeper of Tales from the Glowing Screen. In this chilling yet enlightening story, we'll hear about the mysterious Deep, a tool so powerful it can spot a single typo lurking in the shadows of a summer program. From the haunting, forgotten tool to the final showdown of the deadline demon. This is one story you don't want to miss. So gather your courage and dim your screens. It's time to step into the glow.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jalen Paletta, the current manager at the Customer Service Help Desk, and today I'll be going over the Deep. So the name of my book is The Tales from the Glowing Screen. So here are my table of contents showing each chapter within the book. We have chapter number 1, The Forgotten Tool, Unlocking the Deep Before It's Too Late. In this chapter, we'll be going over how to get to the deep. In chapter 2, the click that saves summer, unearthing the secrets of the deep. Now, in this chapter, we'll be going over the importance of the deep. Next, we have chapter 3, the vanishing program, exporting more than just data. So in this specific chapter, we'll be going over the steps to publication to ensure that your programs are ready to go. And last but not least, we have our final chapter, chapter number 4, the deadline demon. When time runs out, it comes for you. So we'll be going over the important dates in the process. Chapter number 1, the forgotten tool, unlocking the deep before it's too late. Now, you may ask, what is the deep? Well, the DEET stands for the Data Entry Error Tool, which is a guide for making corrections to sections if the current configurations do not meet the commission guidelines. So once this report is ran, you will see red text, which indicates the exact error on the report. Now, we'll be going over the different types of corrections that the DEET catches. The reasons go as the following. There can be an age error configured within the section, which could be an age range error. Another reason would be due to the code, which could be the brochure code either being missing or incorrect. Another reason would be the date being in the incorrect season or year, such as the course date error. We also have our miscellaneous section that is covered on the DEET report. An example of this would be if the section is created, but the facility reservation was never processed. Last but not least, another reason will be that the feed category is not configured correctly as well within the section. But thankfully, we have the DEET to correct these errors without any harm. Now, as explained in Quincy's presentation earlier, we have our famous screen steps. The QR code is located on the bottom left of the screen if you want to use your phone to scan the code for that link to generate. So the data entry error tool screen steps consist of 3 different sections. The first section would be how to run the DEET report. Section number 2 will show the DEET indication for incorrectly entered data. And the last section will show how to fix the DEET errors with examples for each scenario that you might encounter. And if you run into any issues, please feel free to refer back to the screen steps. Now, how to get to the DEET. So the first thing that you want to do is to ensure that you're logged into RecTrac. Then we will go ahead and hit the menu button on the top left, and then we'll go down to custom reports. Now, the login credentials that you'll use will be the same login credentials that you use to log into your Outlook or into your device. So we'll go over to custom reports, then go to data entry there, and then we'll go to the DEET report here. So you have 3 different sections. First thing that you want to do is select the correct year. Next will be the season. And last but not least, the correct call center for your offering facility. Once we have all 3 sections selected, then we'll go ahead and hit view report, and that report will generate for us. And this will be an example as to what the DEET report will look like. So on the left-hand side here, we see the summer day camp date is highlighted in red, showing the error. On the bottom left-hand side, we see the missing or incorrect brochure code is highlighted in red. Another example on the top right, we see the age ranges highlighted in red. Then we see the fees as well as the sections needing facility reservation highlighted in red. As you can see, the errors on the DEET report are placed in red to show where the error is exactly. Chapter number 2, the click that saved summer, unearthing the secrets of the DEET. Now that you know what the DEET is, it's time to learn how to use it. Like any good survival tool, it must be used correctly, or it's just a flashlight with no batteries. So here is an age example, as explained earlier in Eric's presentation. Here are the age categories, and the age range of each camp is up to the facility programmer. So once you determine the age group, then you will select the proper category the age range falls in. So for example, if you wanted a camp for ages 13 to 150, then you will label the camp as 6 mixed ages. So now we'll be going into our stories. The case of the misaged campers. In summer of 1927, multiple 14-year-old kids were accidentally enrolled into an art camp program for ages 6 to 12. At first, the younger kids were excited as they seen new faces, taller campers, cooler clothes. But soon, the older kids were leading every activity, winning every contest, and rewriting the rules to suit themselves. The little ones stopped laughing, stopped playing, and started watching from the sidelines. The staff knew the camp was designed for the ages 6 to 12, but later found out the DEET was never run. So as we can see here, the programmer has the error in the red text right here on the DEET report. If you run into this age error, you have the option to either adjust the minimum age or the maximum age, or change the age category. So the programmer confirmed that this program was supposed to be for ages 6 to 12, and after reviewing the DEET report, we were able to make the correct changes for the camp. So what we did, we adjust the age range within RecTrac from 14 to 12.99. Then we'll just hit save and the correction should be made. Next, the sculpting misfire. Campers enrolled in Art Camp, a vibrant program designed to unleash creativity through painting and sketching. Parents read hands-on clay work and advanced sculpting techniques, so they packed carving tools and smocks. Campers arrived ready to mold clay, but were met with watercolor kits and charcoal pencils. The program was supposed to have the description for the art camp, but the DEET was never run, and the description told a very different story. So here we have the September surprise. Campers were thrilled to join Summer Day Camp Adventures, a program filled with sunshines and swimming. Parents circled July on their calendars, packed sunscreen, and counted down the days. Emails went out, registrations rolled in, but when July arrived, the campgrounds were empty. Staff waited, parents called, confusion spread like wildfire. Then came September, the leaves had turned, the pool was closed, the lifeguard had gone back to college. Campers arrived in shorts and flip-flops, greeted by chilly winds and a locked gate. This program was intended to be in July, but the DEET was never run. So as we can see here, this is an example of the September surprise. Within RecTrac, as we can see highlighted in red, the begin and end date are highlighting the month of September. But since this is a summer day camp, this should fall within the summer day camp month range. So we make the correction within RecTrac. Just go ahead and change that from September to the correct July dates. And then we'll just go ahead and hit save, and then that error will be fixed. Our next story here will be the $500 paintbrush panic. Campers signed up for art camp, ready to dive into painting, sketching, and messy masterpieces. However, upon configuration, a fee error slipped through. Instead of the usual $50 art supply fee, the system published it as $500. Parents were stunned, registrations froze, and confusion spread. The art supply fee was supposed to be $50, but the DEET was never run. So as we can see here, within the fees tab within the section, as Quincy explained earlier, when you create the fees, you want to make sure that the link set is set to unchangeable. So to ensure that you're using unchangeable, a key indicators that we'll see within RecTrac, on the left-hand side here, we see the pencil icon. Now, if you're using link set as unchangeable, this pencil icon should not be here on the left-hand side. Another indication will also be the required box here. As we can see, it's not checked. So this looks like it was set to link set as template. So to make this configuration change, we will go ahead and we see on the right-hand side here, This is link set as unchangeable. So we don't see any pencils, which would be an indicator. And also the required box is checked. So these are two key indicators that you're using link set as unchangeable, which you should, opposed to link set as template. The birthday party invasion. Campers arrived at art camp ready to paint under the pavilion and sketch by the lake. At 10 a.m. sharp, a minivan rolled in, balloons floated, a clown emerged. A birthday party had booked the same location, and they had the paperwork to prove it. Campers were shuffled to the parking lot, and the camp hadn't reserved the space. The facility reservation field was left unchecked. The camp was supposed to have the facility location reserved, but the deed was never run. So as we can see here within RecTrac, we have first we have the deed report showing the error in red text. So what you'll want to do, you'll want to go ahead onto the section, highlight it, then we'll click on more, and then we will click on reserve facility. So now that we are in the system reservations page, you'll want to change the process option from test mode to process. So we'll change that process option from test mode to process, and then we'll go ahead and hit that process button at the bottom. Once we hit process, we will have the ability to receive a confirmation report after. So this is what a clean deed report looks like. Once your deed report looks like this, then you'll know that you'll be good to go. However, this is not the last chapter of the story. Chapter 3, the vanishing program, exporting more than just data. Some say the scariest tale of all is when a program is published, but no one can find it. The deed was ran, but the export was incomplete. Let's explore how to avoid that fate. Exploring exports. So how to get ready for export. The first thing you'll want to make sure is that your deed report is clean. Next, you'll want to ensure the section is set to active. And lastly, you'll want to ensure the web display is set to no. So again, make sure the deed report is clean. Number 2, make sure the section is set to active. And number 3, make sure that the web display is set to off. Now you may ask, why do we freeze RecTrac? Well, we freeze RecTrac to ensure the data between the publicized guide and the information in RecTrac are as accurate as possible. This prevents different data between the summer guide and RecTrac. Now, again, as explained in Quincy's presentation, we have our screen steps. So right here, this will be the data entry review report. So this report will show all sections that are active. So you will specifically want to try and run a brochure generator report. And just to read it, this report is like the old brochure information report. It consolidates the same information which goes into your guide into a single report. Chapter 4, the deadline demon. When time runs out, it comes for you. So this will be another overview, referring back to Quincy's presentation again. This will be the session dates for our summer day camp sections. So we have session 1, session 2, session 3, and session 4, and these are our main sessions. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat below. This will be all for my book. Thank you.
What a finale. a little suspense, a little mystery, and a whole lot of data integrity. Now, before we douse the campfire, let's take one last check your knowledge moment. Scan the QR code and prove that you too can defeat the deadline demon. Let's take about 2 minutes to answer the questions, and then we'll meet back here. All right, and we are back. So let's check our answers. All right, so question number 1. The DEET helps us spot any bugs or errors before camp season kicks off. But what does DEET actually stand for? DPR Event Error Tracker, Data Entry Error Tool, Data Entry Editing Tool, or Don't Eat Every Treat? Let's see what the answer is. So it looks like everybody got this one right. It is the Data Entry Error Tool. All right, so let's move on to question number 2. You've double checked your camp setup and want to take a quick look at the DEET. Where can you find it? In custom reports, activity section reports, activity inquiry, or screen steps? Let's see what our correct answer is. And it is in custom reports. All right, and let's move on to our last and final question today. Your section showed up on the DEET report. What are some possible reasons it might appear there? Select all that apply. Is it an age error, code error, date error, fee error, or miscellaneous? Let's see what the correct answer is. If you selected them all, then you would be correct because all of these could be a reason that your camp sections showed up on the DEET report. All right, so let's move along. And that concludes our Campfire Conversations Town Hall. Thank you to our storytellers, Eric, Quincy, and Jalen, for bringing the magic of summer programming to life. Each of their stories reminds us that behind every great camp season is a team of heroes who debug, build, and double check until the last light flickers out. As we leave the glow of the fire and step back into our daily quest, remember that every ticket tells a story, every program has a plot, and every one of you is a part of the next great chapter. I'm Allison Cheek, the call center supervisor and your host this morning. Until next time, keep your campfires burning bright and your workflows even brighter. If you have any questions, leave them in the QA section. We'll be around for a while, or you can always reach out to us at the help desk at 301-699-2255, or you can reach us at customer service at pgparks.com.